Alright, welcome back to another video. So, kind of got two main ones going here. I've got the Python for DevOps, which is getting a lot of views, and it's interesting. I'm on the machine learning stuff now, so I'm really liking that. And then I also have the Agile Learning Institute one. I was reading the Getting Hired section. I kind of was thinking I would do another video on this right now. So the next video I had planned in this series was building your personal website. So you know what? I think I am gonna do a video on this. This is the one I had planned. So this is part of the Getting Hired course. It's a project building your own personal website. Now they recommend in this to just do a read through and then go back and read more carefully and actually do the projects the second time around to not get hung up on them and get stuck in the reading the first time around. Just make sure you've read everything, go back and do the project. So that's the approach I'm taking. I won't be building my personal website at this time. That is something I need to do. I don't really have one. I have this YouTube channel, but it's really quite a bit different than personal website, especially since I have some pretty cool assets in my corner. You know, I have my Dell R610, and when I was going for my CCNA, one of the coolest things I found online was just some random guy uh, put his home lab up online for free to people to use. Like, he was just a nice guy. It's just like, come on in to my home lab and play around on the switches I've got. That was like one of the coolest learning resources I was ever able to use, and I like used it a lot because like he had like some good gear. So like I could do that. I could just be like, log into my home lab, my R610. Here's some junipers up for you. And I could be, I could pay it forward in that way, and I could do that on my personal website. I would actually really love to do that, and then I can keep like track statistics and kind of like, yeah. So let's see here. So this is the introduction. You don't need a personal website right off the bat, but it's good to have, and it's a fun project to test your skills with. In the simplest case, and I'll do a sound check here, looks good. It's a direct conduit for you to anyone searching and another way to craft your narrative. And we looked at that before. Really, what it's going to be all about is LinkedIn. No matter what you do, your LinkedIn's going to be at the top. We can see from me, my second one is YouTube, which I'm pretty happy with with my presence now. And then my third one is I used to have a SoundCloud account like over 10 years ago, and I guess I'm okay with that. If I could go back, I would probably take some of these down and maybe reorder some of these, maybe put this one at the top. But it's not me in a compromising position or anything like that. I'd rather this were my professional channel showing up and not my personal channel. But I mean, if you're Googling for my first and last name, maybe you're not necessarily looking for my professional channel. And I do have the link to it right here, so it's pretty easy to find. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with my web presence right now. It's looking good. We've got my professional life here. Really easy to see. YouTube channels mentioned there, work history, all that. We got some stuff about my personal life. So like my hobbies on my playlist, you can see very clearly. I play a traditional African instrument for some reason, because it's fun, and I like to be healthy. That's really important to me, especially mental health. I'm a science guy, obviously. Play another music, and then my main hobby is juggling. So yeah, pretty happy with how that is. Pretty happy with this. Yeah, so pretty good presence. I've got my GitHub on there. Now this one is interesting because I recently I just wasn't. I felt like Instagram just wasn't a like positive thing for me, so I deleted it. Okay, and it just takes you to a dead link, so I'm okay with that. And then we've got one I really like. This was one like how many years ago? 9 years ago. So this is like me when I was not struggling with baldness and being overweight. Uh, I was probably not as good of a juggler as I am now, though. Believe it or not, even though I was younger and fitter. But anyways, th- the reason I'm bringing that is because it's a so anyone searching for you, trying to craft a narrative about you, they're going to do that based on what they find online, Googling you. So the best way to deal with that is to Google yourself. And I would say most importantly, Google yourself in incognito mode, because you're more likely to see what they will see. Otherwise, you'll just see something, curated about you that doesn't that's based on your own computer, and somebody else looks at you online and they see something completely different that you were expecting. So I'm pretty happy with what we got. We got my professional life there right at the top, which is where I want it. We got my personal life, some curated things about my personal life, recent things, some hobbies and stuff on there. I really like that. Then we've got just some long lost account that I have no control over anymore that floated to the top from 10 years ago. I'm okay with that. It's not bad. I'd probably change that around if I had access, but it's not like some defamatory thing. It's just some music I used to play. We got a few pictures of me that are pretty happy with those pictures. And yeah, there's some good stuff. This one I'm happy to have up there too, because it explains a pretty difficult juggling pattern in a pretty clear way. And yeah, I'm really happy with my online presence. That was the point of this YouTube channel, is to really take a hold of that. But a personal website can be at the top. You can bring that all the way to the top, which is what I would like to do somehow. If you hate writing, don't blog, but you need to be a real person. Showcase your work, geek out. So that's what this channel is all about, and I definitely recommend doing this sort of thing for others. Now, it might not be practical to do 6-hour videos, a day, or even an hour a day, like I would do. I'm a very a lot of proliquity, I guess is the word, but yeah, for the last 4 days I've done like at least a half-hour video, so it doesn't take that much effort, but you have to, when somebody Googles you, they should see you, and they should see an image that you're happy with them seeing. I love how the test video of my like showing how bad my phone records is what comes up, but the video that is after this that shows how good the camcorder records, of course that's not the video that's shown. So you kind of got to expect that too online, is like whatever is the thing you want somebody to see the least is probably what's going to float up to the top and what people are going to see the most. So you have to kind of back up this this kind of setup that's like designed to make you look bad, with just like, okay, well, that was just one small snippet from my life. If you know who I am, if you follow my content, if you see the real stuff that I have control over and that I put my input in, then you would not come away with that same image of me. I think that's really important to be able to do, because you can't control your image out in the online world once it's out of your hands. So you need a way to represent yourself accurately and not have it get distorted, where one thing you happen to say, either intentionally or by accident, or in a way that was taken a way you didn't mean to say it, just becomes what represents you. You can't let that happen. Or if it does, you need, like I guess what I'm saying is, yeah, be a real person and not just the worst thing you've done over the last 30 years, and then that's what's online and that's who you are. Like, be yourself online and showcase your work. And if you're watching this, yeah, geek out. So for this project, it's best for you to identify the personal websites of several people you admire and see what you think they've done right. In general, it's best to keep your site simple, clean, and to the point, rather than bloated and full of "look what I can do" features. Let your portfolio of work speak for itself. So I know exactly what I would do for my site. First of all, it would be kind of like my YouTube channels. So like I'd have my hobbies on my site, and I do some real work for my hobbies too. One of my hobbies is juggling, and there's kind of a collection of jugglers that are like computer scientists that are working on AI applications for juggling. And I kind of thrown my hat in the ring in that a little bit, but I'm not a PhD computer scientist in the same way these other guys are. So I have Juggling Coach. It's good. It gets the data. It has the numbers. It has like the math from a book I've read. So like it works. It grabs the numbers. It's just you have to have a very specific background. You have to have glow balls, and then I don't know what to use the data for, so because I'm not like a data scientist. So I've got my hat thrown in the ring. So that would be on my personal website for sure. And this is what they mean by geek out too. Like this shows competency with Python. This show, I got something difficult to work. And then I would probably have that my home lab out available for people to use, maybe like for specific hours out of the day or like something like that. So for this project, it's best for I already read that, and this is supplemental material from Forbes. Yeah, and here's that number again. 80% of job openings are never advertised. So if you put out a presence of yourself and you give people a real, forget this soundbite you've heard of me, forget this snapshot. If you Google my name and you don't do anything, and at the top of the Google results is your name is a giant a-hole, it's like, well, this is why it's so important to be a real person online and be present online, because you need to take that narrative and be in control of that narrative about who you are. And I'm not saying to like lie about who you are, like, if you're like, I'm not saying to like, bury the lead if you've got, I mean, I don't really have good advice for anyone who might be watching this who does have, like, for example, like a felony conviction and they're trying to like land a job and they've been rehabilitated through the justice system and they're ready to move on with their life. Like I'm sad to say I don't really have good advice for that person, but I guess my intuition would be, yeah, don't bury the lead. You have a felony. It's going to pop up if somebody Googles you. And that's why it's important to be a real person online. You could even put that on your website, like, like something like about me or my past, and like mention it very clearly what you were convicted for and the time you served. And it's sad. I my heart kind of goes out to anyone in that situation who has been rehabilitated and is looking to move on. But unfortunately, yeah, I would say I don't really have the best advice with that. I'm kind of a pretty, I've never dealt with anything like that. So my past that bubbled up on me is me looking goofy juggling at a parade with my eyes closed. All right, so let's see here. Um, but yeah, my heart goes out to anyone who's had a rough past and has been rehabilitated and wants to move on to the next step in their life. I will say I've kind of been there in a bit where like I've had kind of health issues that rest- limited me from like living up to my full potential as a person. And one thing I'm really grateful for is like nothing relating to my health issues is part of my online presence. Like this is why like I would say not to like call attention and not to like define yourself based on like a like yeah, I would say really like yeah, I guess that's all I have to say on this um is to yeah, I'll just read it again. um you need to be a real person online. You need to showcase your work, geek out, and it doesn't have to be elaborate. You don't have to do anything you hate. You just need to craft the narrative about who you are and not let that get defined for you. All right, so next is documentation. Don't underestimate the importance of high quality documentation on your projects. As a professional developer, writing good documentation is a must. As a job seeker, it's a hidden opportunity to shine. Your projects should include a useful README and at least one screenshot. Include a section about why you built the project and another section with instructions to run the project locally. Remember to write some documentation for both technical and non-technical audience. A potential employer should be able to follow your documentation regardless of their technical background. So that's a good point too. Not only are you going to make a high quality personal website, you're going to make it open source, and you're not going to pay for GoDaddy or something like that. You're going to write it yourself. You're going to showcase the fact that you're a professional developer and you can write your own website. So you're going to have a GitHub repo with a README, and you're going to explain what you did to build this website, where it's hosted, why you made the design decisions you made, and you're going to take at least one screenshot of some aspect of your decision process in setting up the site. Okay, so here's the next kind of supplemental resource here. I'm not going to read it, I'm just going to look at it a bit. So this is Write the Docs. And let's see here. Camera. I write docs. Okay, so yeah, this actually looks like a good one, but it's a good one to review later. So next section is Show Designs. A list of portfolios of professional developers. Students should analyze these sites to understand what should be on their portfolios and how it should be presented. And one thing that's really fun that I would recommend people do as well is to find bad examples of websites. I think it's really fun. One of the really fun ways is a lot of jugglers actually just kind of, especially like older jugglers, made their own websites in like the 90s and like never changed them. So like I'm gonna do a plug here for the truly remarkable Loon. He's a professional juggler, so hire the guy for your next event where you want a juggler. And you see what I mean. His site is actually down right now. Last I went to it, it was up. But if you're looking to hire him, you probably don't need to go through his site. But this is kind of what I'm talking about, where a good way to see an example of like how not to build a site anymore. I mean, maybe back then it was a really good site. Is people who used to use a site like another good one is Anthony Gatto is a really great juggler. One of the definitely I would say the best juggler who ever lived. I think he probably still has his personal site up that he would use to plug himself as a juggler. Um, Maybe this isn't kind of as lucrative as I thought it would be. I'm pretty sure he had a personal site. So I'm kind of falling. I'm kind of not doing this properly because I thought this would be pretty lucrative. And I'm talking about juggling, which I can very often do accidentally. All right, so getting back to the task at hand, which is reading more of this. So I'm going to take a look at one of these that kind of jumps out to me as somebody who's famous and look at their profile. So I actually don't recognize any of these names. The when I think of a developer, though, the one that comes to my mind right now is LLYER, the AI OpenAI developer. So his name is LLAYER, I think. Uh, Yeah, so this person here probably has a personal website. I think of this guy as maybe one of the best living programmers right now. I don't know if that's a a correct way to think about him, but and you know what? I would say honestly, LinkedIn is probably fine. I mean, why would you go? I feel like there's a point where like it's like especially for paying for something because these YouTube videos I make I don't have to pay for. I just make them for free. So there's like no even if you're a great programmer, I feel like having your own site kind of isn't necessary. Well, anyway, let's just look at the first one quick and move on, and I will need to take a break. I'm kind of falling flat on my face here. Yeah, so this is a great website. It shows a lot of good features. So yeah, this is a good example here. Take a look at one more. Yeah, so if we Google any of these names, so if we Google this person's name, we see his site right at the top. Oh, well, no, we don't. We see a different site. We see Dribble. So his own site is the second site, and then we've got Instagram, LinkedIn. So good online presence for sure. Okay, so I can mark this one complete. I don't have a solution. So this solution here would be submitting the link to my own site, I'm assuming. But I'm not going to do that this time around. I'm just going to mark it complete and move on. All right, so I need a break. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So the next part is collecting job leads. Introduction. You've moved beyond the preparation and knowledge gathering phase. Now it's time to hit the pavement and approach the actual jobs. Organization is key here, and a spreadsheet is highly recommended. Keep track of not just the jobs themselves, but also their websites, any connections you have to the company, and a log of your activity. Have a separate column for each must-have criteria you identified in the earlier section. Use a binary true/false of each of the top 5 nice to have criteria. Use a 3 or 5 point system so you can quickly check off where the jobs rank. Put any job opening you find in your spreadsheet. Here's an example of how a spreadsheet to keep track of job openings might look like. Okay, so we've got rows and columns here. The first column is the job title. Then we got the company, the website, the connections. So this is great. If you have a referral, you write down the name of the referral. Any recruiter, anyone working at the company, anything like that, you write them down. So there should probably be multiple people in here, hopefully. And then you have an activity log. That's good too. So it's your resume sent and you haven't heard back. Did you follow up? Which resume did you send? So you should be versioning your resumes and like tailoring. So you should like basically name your resume underscore company A. So you should tailor them and keep track of the versions. And that's a important skill, in IT is like file versioning and like operating system images have versioning. So versioning in itself is a good skill. So it's important to have there. Now we've got 3 must-haves, and you can list that there. So like remote, whatever you're looking for, you're looking remote, hybrid, in office, you can have it listed here and do a true or false if the position's like that. Then something like the shift, is it like an early morning job, late night job, late evening job? You can put that there. So and then these are your must-haves. It has to be like that. A nice to have might be like the benefits or something like that. So yeah, that's kind of eye-opening. I've never really done it this way. My job search was kind of not done in the best way possible, which is probably one of the contributing reasons why it took so long. All right, so the best places to look. Start with your network, even if it's small. Reach out to your Facebook friends and friends of friends to see if anyone's hiring. You should start your search with the highest probability / highest quality sources first. So the highest probability and highest quality resource is your network, including people you've met in the community. The second one is direct postings that go to a human, like when developers, not recruiters, send emails about job openings, missing an S, at their company to the local Ruby list. And notice this you need to be on these lists. If you're a professional, you need to be tapped into what the professionals are tapped into, even if it's not something you really interact with all that much. It's important to have another human being on the other end of the emails. Direct postings, like on a customer company website for a specific position, these will also usually go to a specific human being. And then we've got job boards, which are pretty much awful. You are in the herd now. I can attest to this. And it's not only that you're in the herd, it's that the job isn't real. It's like somebody's trying to cash in to get a commission, but like the lead they have for getting that commission is not a valid lead, and they're just kind of seeing it through anyway, maybe part of like desperation or whatever reason. So try checking out these links for job boards. The more technically focused, the better, which is probably makes sense. So we got one where you can do a direct showcase, startup jobs, Y Combinator. All right. Can filter out location. So, yep. And I guess this is not technically a job board. Oh, you know what? They are job boards, yeah. So pretty much awful. Not a good way to find a job. But of the job boards, there are quite a bit. You can definitely go deep in that rabbit hole. All right, so on recruiters, there are a lot of recruiters out there whose job it is to get you hired, but you'll need to be careful about how you work with them. For starters, they get paid based on a percentage of the salary you take, so their incentive to get you paid as much as possible is to get you paid as much as possible, which is good. Unfortunately, as a junior developer, your salary is much lower than a senior engineer, so you will not be their priority and they won't spend much time on you, which is bad. So my take on this is not at that junior level. So um, this goodness and this badness doesn't apply when it comes to my take on this. So finding recruiters sounds like it's a good strategy if you've got quite a few years of experience. If you're approached out of the cold as a junior developer by a recruiter, chances are that they won't be going out of their way to learn your story and find you the right fit. You're more likely to get put in the pile of resumes they send out to everyone. You probably don't yet have work experience that is scalable enough for them to go out of their way to find you the right experience. Saleable, not scalable. So saleable means fit or able to be sold. In that case, you may find them sending out your resume to everyone just in hopes that they get their 20 through 30%. I guess that's their rate of your salary that they take. Remember, if they approach you in a spammy way, for example through LinkedIn, they probably do the same to companies, so it's doubtful they'll add value to here. Yeah, so this is a good point, and the job they have might not even be a real job. I think in a lot of cases it's not. So yeah, as you become more senior and your work is more unique, recruiters can add a lot of value to your career by understanding the potential market for you and opening doors you may not otherwise have found. So don't get down on them yet. As a junior, you're unfortunately more of a commodity, so you probably won't find value in working with recruiters yet. Rely on your own ability to hustle and sell your stuff. So to yourself. So this channel isn't necessarily for juniors. So recruiters are I would say probably a good idea to connect with. You can connect with a bunch of them on LinkedIn. So I would say do spend some time connecting with recruiters. So this section is complete. Next section is qualifying job leads. I need a break. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back, and I've got slapped silly in the face with a case of the tired. So I'm like really, really tired right now, and I just want to be done making the video. I'm just too tired to continue. So that's it for this video. Stay tuned for the next one for qualifying job leads.